I think height is a huge one. I honestly
How big is height for women?
I would
Like
say,
really though, are women that superficial to think that height is that important for them?
Depending on her height and her level of beauty. I would just say that like sometimes I meet men who are like 5'4", 5'3", and they'll say to me, I really, really want a beautiful girl. In my personal experience with beautiful women, what happens with them is they assume every man's super tall because that's all they've ever experienced. They don't know how to compromise on attractiveness because they've never really needed to. So they see the world through the lens of course, like, I didn't know men come in a different size. So they can be very shallow with that.
Interesting.
But even, unfortunately, I think height is to women what facial beauty is to men. So it kind of has that similar impact. It's not definite, but it has a similar impact.
I mean, you have a lot of women that come to your retreats. Do they say height is a factor for them, or they're, you know, are all women there that are just like, oh, I'll take a guy shorter than me and it's fine?
I mean, I tend to meet a lot of people who have reached a point in their lives where they're bringing a kind of awareness to their love life, where they're saying, I want to meet someone. I'm not 22 years old and showing up with this checklist of superficial things. They're
conscious about it.
But now they're older though, and they're like, I can't find a guy. I'm willing to kind of spread my options wider now.
I would say that we all get to that point where we go, are the things that I once chased really, do they matter? Do they make any difference to my actual quality of life in a relationship? And you know, height is an interesting thing. If you're a very tall woman, then it's natural, I think, for a lot of women to want someone who's of their height or not drastically different in that sense. But, you know, I think a lot of people just get to the point where they go, this isn't the defining factor anymore. In the same way that a lot of guys realize chasing the prettiest girl at school is, I have to grow out of that because that doesn't make her the best partner. It doesn't make her a great person to spend time with. It doesn't, she might be, but it doesn't, it's not automatic. And so I think it's a common thing for everybody to start to let go of some of those superficial factors. But I do want to just touch again on the, you know, talking about who's more emotionally unavailable, because I do, my experience of women is that they really, there certainly are a group of people on both sides who think they are emotionally available, but are perhaps not.
Yeah.
But what makes them that if they think they are, but they're not?
What makes them unavailable?
What makes them emotionally unavailable?
Oh, I think it could be any number of things. I think, you know, for some people they're terrified of just getting hurt. So the idea of letting someone close enough to really hurt them is the scariest thing in the world.
They want love. They want to feel seen and acknowledged and connected, but they're afraid of it at the same time.
Well, they're afraid of the damage someone could do if they got in. And so for that kind of person, what they need is like a level of safety that is actually really hard for anyone to achieve. Because if I don't let you in and I'm like, I'm not going to let you in until you make me feel really safe, but you don't, you know, I haven't really let you in enough for you to even feel that connected to me. You know, or by the way, something happens 4 weeks into knowing someone where they forget to text you back for a night, which is human and happens. But for what was a mistake for you, for me, is like an existential threat. Like, oh no, I've been getting attached to this person for the last 4 weeks. They now haven't texted me. They don't like me. What have I done here? And then I say, well, you know what? Screw this person. I'm not going to text them back for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, like now I'm going to give them that medicine back. And it's not that this person's a bad person. It's just that they're so afraid that it's like, I can't risk you doing the damage you can do that's been done to me in the past, whether as a child or whether in a formative relationship. I can't risk you getting that close again. So that's a desperate desire for love and connection, but it presents as emotional unavailability.
When someone is playing a game, either texting or on dates, and they're playing a game, what is that saying about them if they're trying to play a game?
they're entering relationship with a desire to preserve their ego rather than truly connect with that person. It's more important that they appear desirable than then they create something that is desirable between the two of them. So if it's a case of somebody hasn't texted me in a couple of days, I'm not going to text them in a couple of days, but I'm going to post a really pretty picture online. Or if a man is like, oh, she didn't answer me back, or she didn't compliment me, no, I'm not going to give her any compliments. What you're really signaling is, I'm so desperate to be loved that I'll push it away and make you think that I don't want it, just so then if you reject me first, I can feel like I saved my soul by not investing too much. So there is self-preservation, but in the process is self-destruction. Yeah, sadly. So, and I've been there. We've all been there. I think we've all been there. We don't want to look like the idiot. We don't want to look needy. But I always just say to people that if in the process of communicating your needs, you lose somebody or they think something less of you, you're just filtering out the wrong people anyway. The right person will appreciate the communication, they'll reciprocate the communication, and you'll build something. The wrong person will, be scared or run away or whatever it is, but you don't want the wrong person anyway. So it's a good filtering process. Effective communication is great for filtering out the wrong people.
It's so interesting because when I was starting to date Martha, my fiance, like just early, the first date, I was just like, I'm going to share not all of me, but kind of all of me up front. And
no games?
Yeah, no games. Just like, this is who I am. This is my flaws. This is my mistakes. This is the things I'm working on. This is, the things I'm good at, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of was completely unattached to the result.
Yeah.
Like, if she likes me, cool. If she doesn't like me, at least she knows who I am.
Yeah.
And it was freeing. It felt freeing to be like, okay, this is me. I'm not playing any games. I was just like, if you like me, cool. If you don't like me, cool.
Yeah.
And that gave me freedom to be myself. And I think it allowed me to see, does she really like me for kind of all of me, of what I'm able to show.
You weren't trying to impress her. You were trying to access a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what the goal should be.
And it was almost like if she didn't want to hang out with me again, I wasn't going to be upset or hurt that she wasn't into me. I'd be like, okay, this just didn't work out.
I think that comes from you having done a lot of work on yourself to get to the point where you felt pretty accepting of yourself at that stage.
Yeah. I couldn't do that in my 20s.
No, because I think the game playing originates from this feeling of, I'm starting from behind. I'm starting from not being good enough. So how can I manufacture a dynamic that is going to raise my value?
How can I show my best self?
Or how can I create a mirage of a self that doesn't exist?
Interesting.
What am I trying to do by not texting you back for 3 days? I'm trying to create this idea of myself as this extremely busy, high demand person, as opposed to the person that I am. And by the way, if I was that really busy, high in demand person, I probably still wouldn't wait 3 days to text her. Because I would say, hey, I'm running from meeting to meeting, but I wanted to say hi and how's your day? Because you still, even if you were that person and it wasn't where your value was, you didn't put your value in being a busy and important person, then you still wouldn't be weaponizing it. But the game playing is a way to kind of, manufacture or engineer a self that doesn't exist, a self that you think would be the most attractive you, that you're not really. Whereas you came into your relationship with Martha going, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm all right. I'm maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm all right. And I come to think of it, I quite like me. I don't mind myself. And if I find someone who likes me for me, that is far preferable to, finding someone who's into me because of this mirage I've created that I now have to sustain.
Here's a question for both of you. Both of you give advice to men and women on relationships, but I'm curious, what is the biggest challenge that you had to overcome in your 20s in your own relationships? One for each of you, that maybe is a pattern looking back now. You could say, oh, this is something I did in relationships or when I was single. Maybe I played a little bit of the games. Maybe I did this. Maybe I was emotionally unavailable. But what was the thing that you think held both of you back the most in your 20s from finding love?
Welcome to my course on masculinity, and in this course not only will I be able to completely transform your understanding of women, but on a more personal level you will enhance your self-esteem, self-respect and your boundaries. The goal of this course is to take a man that has absolutely fantastic intentions, wants to find love, wants to commit, wants to have a good healthy relationship, but is finding that he's constantly running into women who are narcissistic, who are disrespectful, who are disloyal. Now, if you are finding that continuously, then there must be something in your engagement with women that is causing this. What my course will do is look at where this problem comes from, how to resolve it, how to communicate effectively with men and women, and how to command respect. Most importantly, how to improve your self-respect. And throughout the course, you'll be given interactive sessions, but with course materials to help you channel and journal your learning. So if you are interested in becoming the most masculine version of yourself, join today.